Hello and welcome to part two of the Business Etiquette Dinner presentation. I am your host, Bob Stewart. Thank you for keying in to listen to part two of this Business Etiquette Dinner presentation. Part one was mainly about why you were there, basically, interview processes with employers, maybe some networking sessions, and how to have general politeness and manners during this kind of evolution. But part two is going to be mainly about how you're going to act around the food, which is the hardest part about actually being a part of business etiquette dinners, or being a part of a dinner where you have to practice really good business etiquette, which I would argue most Americans are not very good at. We don't usually do it very often. So here we go. Today we're going to be talking about the food and table manners concerning food and how we should be utilizing the utensils in front of us. Manners. Here's a big deal. If you drop a utensil, make sure that you leave it and ask for another one. If you're dropping a fork or a knife or a spoon on the floor, don't pick it up, wipe it off, and use it to eat. That's just ridiculous. Go ahead and leave it. I know it sounds a little weird, but yeah, leave it on the floor. They'll take care of it, and just ask for another. This is another little rule that a lot of people don't really know. Keep salt and pepper together. If somebody asks for salt, make sure that you pass the pepper with it. They're married, all right? That's the way to think about it, is they don't leave each other. That is actually a general rule when it comes to fine dining. Salt and pepper always travel together. And then trash, sugar packets, butter, creamer tubs, things of that nature should be placed on a bread plate or on a saucer. Don't leave it all trashy all over the table or on your main plate. That other plate is there for that trash after you've eaten your bread. So go ahead and use that. The napkin rule, again, last time we talked about how your napkin goes on your lap. If you leave the table during dinner, leave your napkin on your chair. That will let somebody know that you're actually coming back. You can refold it and put it back on the table. The reason why you don't want to crumple it up and put it on the table or put it next to or on your plate is because in the event that you're going to go use the restroom or you just need to walk away from the table for a little bit, that's going to actually tell the server that you're probably done with your meal, and they're going to take it regardless of what they see on your plate. So make sure that you are putting that napkin back on your chair. When you're done eating, like I mentioned before, leave your napkin on the right side of your plate. We do not want to refold or crumple it. Just kind of lay it gently down. And if you drop your napkin, you can retrieve it if it's an if it's in easy reach. Don't go crawling under the table. That's a little creepy. And don't put your head under the table ever. Just leave it and ask for another, and everything will be okay. Believe it or not, there is a proper way for cutting food, and we're going to go through the American and continental styles of doing that. As you can see pictured, you want to use the fork in the dominant hand to eat, but you want to switch hands to cut your food. So if you're right-handed, you want to be lifting your food to your mouth with your fork with the right hand. You actually switch out to cut your food with the fork in the left hand and the knife in the right. To cut your food, transfer fork to less dominant hand, hold in place with your index finger, as you can see in the picture above. To cut meat or vegetables, use a slight sawing motion with your index finger on top of the knife. That's actually, in culinary school, one of the first lessons you'll ever learn in using a knife is to place your index finger there. That gives you control, positive control over that knife. Cut 1 to 2 bites at a time. Don't cut your entire meal up in the beginning like your parents would do for you when you were a kid. You're just doing 1 or 2 bites at a time. And then as you go to eat, rest your knife across the top of the plate with the serrated edge facing you. Knife serrated edges should always be pointed towards you. This is general etiquette for eating. It might sound ridiculous to you, but actually back in the day, a long time ago, the serrated edge, if it was pointed towards somebody else, it actually meant that they wanted to duel. And it could be seen by others from an international perspective as rude. So always have your serrated edge pointed towards you. And then return your fork to your dominant hand to eat. The continental style, which is, in my opinion, much easier and this is what I do. Keep your fork in your non-dominant hand to eat and cut your food. Cut one bite and then eat it. And then bring your fork directly to your mouth, tines down. We do want tines down. I really don't know why. I'm not gonna I'm not going to act like I know. But this is the continental style of dinner etiquette. As far as bread is concerned, a lot of rules here that I really didn't know before actually viewing this slideshow. Bread is served in two ways, at your table in a basket or on a bread plate. If you start the passing, do not serve yourself first. Always pass to the right. So if you're going to pass something, bread is one of those things that you'll always pass, and it starts with you. You don't take a piece of bread and pass it. You actually pass to the right first, let it go all the way around the table, and then you get the last piece of bread. For me, if I'm in a setting where I'm conducting or I'm going to an interview, not conducting an interview, but I'm interviewing for a job, I'm not going to grab the bread first anyway. I'm going to let somebody else do it. And that way you get a better selection of bread. So, hey, silver linings, don't grab the bread first. There you go. Break off a small piece over your bread plate and then butter each piece as you eat it. That's a really, really strange rule, but that is actually business etiquette. So you want to go ahead and do that. And then return knife to bread plate with the serrated edge pointing towards you. Remember, serrated edges always pointed towards you. If you get a salad or when salad comes between the appetizer and the main meal, you always want to use your salad fork. The salad fork usually has the shorter tines and is to the outside. When it comes to silverware and courses and meals, you're usually working from the outside in. So your salad fork will be on the outside of your dinner fork. Salad knife is on the outside as well. You want to cut the salad into bite-sized pieces, one bite at a time, and then put the knife down between bites, just like you would for your main meal. Alcohol, this is a biggie, and this is a biggie for a lot of people that are probably listening to this. There are some really, really, really strong rules about alcohol, and it can be very tricky when it comes to any kind of interview or when it comes to any kind of business setting. Here again, we have to remember, if you are 21 and your host is drinking alcohol and asks if you would like to, you can follow the host at that point. But you have to make sure that you're 21. They're going to know if you're 21 or not because of your application. And if you're not 21 and you think you're going to get by with saying, yeah, maybe you can order me a drink because I'm not 21, don't do that. This is a test. You're not drinking on this day if you're not 21. So just don't do it. If you are 21, remember moderation is a big deal. It's a very, very, very big deal. So make sure that you're only ordering one drink. Make sure that it's not like, whiskey on the rocks or something like that just because you're trying to get somewhere you shouldn't be. Make it moderate, very, very moderate. And remember, if you haven't eaten earlier in the day, that alcohol is going to go to you really quick, right? There's nothing to absorb that alcohol. So that you need to understand that. You need to remember that. There are also places like Colorado. If you go to Denver, Colorado, you're a mile up. One drink here in Michigan is like 2 to 3 drinks there in Colorado because of elevation. So you want to remember that. It can affect you differently given different settings. And then if, like I mentioned before, if you're 21, you can have a drink, but this should not be your focus. Show you can drink responsibly in this case. Remember, if you're driving too, drunk drivers have affected a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And there may be people sitting at this table that have been affected by that. You just make sure that you're doing this the right way. Special dietary needs. This comes up a lot as well. If you have allergies or food preferences based on religion, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, if you need gluten-free food, or if you have specific allergies, you need to make sure that you're communicating that to the host ahead of time. I know that that's not necessarily the situation that you want to be in, but at the same time, it's important for you to be able to be assertive here and let people know. It would be much worse if, say, you show up to this dinner, you didn't let somebody know that you had a specific allergy, and it's all over your plate, and now you can't eat the food. Now there's money wasted, there's time wasted, and you could have prevented that. So make sure that you're communicating your special dietary needs prior to this engagement. Eat what you can and leave the rest if there's something on your plate that just doesn't agree with any of the things mentioned before. Don't make a scene if you're served something that goes against your needs. Don't make a scene at all, but let people know, if they ask you that, this is your situation, and you just can't eat it. And then if you think this is going to be a problem, or if you think there's not much on the menu that you can order and you're going to be really hungry through the process, I'm here to tell you, these interviews, these networking meetings, they can last hours. So eat before you arrive so you're not overly hungry if there's not a lot of options for you at this restaurant. Some basic table manners here. You can see American style. On the left is I'm resting. I'm not finished with my food, but I'm still eating it. I'm finished is fork and knife right next to each other. Again, serrated edge pointed towards you at all times. Continental, I'm resting, so don't take my food, or I'm finished, so I'm ready for you to take my food. This is all part of silent service. At fine dining restaurants, they know that networking is a key aspect to this meeting, so they don't want to interrupt. They want to let you continue the conversation. They know that they're probably going to make more money if they give really, really good service, but stay out of the way. So this is a way that you can help communicate to that serving staff, hey, don't take my food, or yes, please take my food, I'm all finished. And then at the end of the night, here's a big deal. No doggy bags. Don't be taking stuff home with you. There may be cases as a student, if you're a younger student especially, that the employer might have kind of a mom or dad complex and say, no, please take food with you. And if it comes to that case, if it's like that, yeah, go ahead and do it. But remember, if you've left some food on your plate and you want to take some home, remember this is a professional setting, so don't doggy bag at this event. When your host is done, you are done. All right. That doesn't mean that you have to keep pace with your food, but at the same time, watch your host and make sure that you're eating as well as answering some of the questions. And then when the host is done, you're done. Do not stack or push plates aside. You let the waiting staff take care of that. Any unused silverware is left on the table. Don't worry about that. The serving staff will take care of that. Shake hands and thank your host and express the appreciation of being invited to such an event. Chances are they probably paid for your meal. You should definitely be thanking them. And then you want to make sure that you're sending a thank you note to your host directly after the engagement. And again, you want to be doing this via email if you can, thanking them for their time and appreciating that they hosted you at this eating engagement and hoping that you will get a chance to talk to them soon. Remember, for this kind of scenario, just like when we talk about career fairs, before you take your shoes off when you get home, write those thank you emails out, and you will be hitting the nail right on the head. Manners are a sensitive awareness of the feelings of others. If you have that awareness, you have good manners, no matter what fork you use. This is a great quote because chances are, if you don't do this every day, you're going to screw up a little bit. Don't let that get in your head. Just remember to have good manners, and that will serve you. That will serve you best in this actual scenario. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to the Zhang Career Center. We would be happy to help you prepare for an event like this. Thank you for watching, and we wish you all the best.